Okay. Okay. So the agenda for today's session is we'll be discussing about sharing and visibility, and then uh, I have a few screenshots here. I've taken it from another YouTube channel called Decode SF Certifications. We'll be using this as a reference for our technical debate for today, and yeah, let's start then. Okay, so this is the overall what do you say uh, weightage for each concept of each concept. Like 67% is majorly for declarative sharing, and 25% for programmatic sharing, and 8% for uh, related to the performance. Let's say if you are writing a sharing rule and if you are not following some precautions, what type of performance issues that we'll come across is related to that. We have 8% of 8%, right? So are we good with this, the scoring? So
Yes.
overall pass
Yes.
percentage is 68%. So 67% is directly from configuration, right? So okay, this is about the first slide about organization wide defaults. So let me go to this organization wide default settings. Go to share. I'm just going to sharing settings, and here we'll be seeing in the org-wide default screen, we'll be seeing this object default internal access, default external access, and grant access using hierarchies, right? So this default external access, uh, this we can control whether to keep this or not, right? So this is not like this is not mandatory in the initial stage, but I've seen that from some specific release. I think it is from, yeah, from spring 20. By default it will be available in all orgs, but it is enabled in all orgs. But what we can do is, in case if you want to once we enable it, we cannot disable it. Previously we have option to enable explicitly. If you see here, disable external sharing model, this was grayed out here, disable external sharing model. This external access is mainly for communities. If you have any communities and if you want to control the data visibility, that is taken care with this particular permission, and once this is enabled, we can't disable this one. So enabling generally happens here itself in the, I think we have settings, like once we click edit, right? So somewhere around here we'll be having this permission, but now this is a default perm which is enabled. Okay. Okay, and now what we have to understand is internal access and external access. Internal access is for the users within the Salesforce, and external access is for community related users, right? And if you see here permissions, let's say uh, I'll ask a question here. Internal access, assume I have marked this as private, so what permissions I can give it in the external access?
It should be private.
It should be private. And let's say if I give here public read write, let's say if I'm giving here public read write, what options I can give in the external access?
You can have private or public read only, or public read write.
Yeah,
Basically, the external access should be less than or equals to default internal access.
correct. In case if we are direct, if you are giving here private, and if you are trying to give here public read only, then we will see this error. Okay, it will not allow us to save itself. So, and we know this grant access using hierarchies, right? So this checkbox is default, by default it is enabled for all standard objects. We cannot disable it, but in terms of custom objects, we can either enable or disable based on our sharing model decisions, right? And so the next slide is all about what are the different access levels that we have. So if you see here, we know that there is a public read write, and for some objects we have public read write transfer, and for some objects, let's say for contact, there is no public read write transfer. So we need to understand for which objects which permissions generally available, which access levels generally available. So this is the basic table that we have. So let me open this. So this is the actual access levels that are available altogether. So we already know what is private, what we all know public read only, public read write, right? And controlled by parent, if there is any master detail relationship, and if you are marking parent object as private, then for child object, it automatically converts as controlled by parent. Whatever parent has, whatever type of access that parent has, the similar will be granted to the childs as well. That is about controlled by parent, that we already know. Public, private, public read write, private, controlled by parent. These are the frequent permissions that we will come across, right? We will see these permissions. This public read write transfer, what it actually means is you can also change the ownership. This is generally available for case and leads. So let's say if I am a case owner, I can let's say I have a case, and I'm the owner of that case. What I can do, I can transfer the ownership of that case, as well as my managers will also able to transfer the case ownership. That is about this transfer concept. And full access, this particular permission is available for campaign object. Let's say if we see here campaign, full access is available. Full access means we can also delete the records. If you see here, delete, we can also delete, like we can read, we can read, we can write, and as well we can transfer, plus we can delete the records. That is about full access. And this particular access level, so we call this as access levels. Public read only, public read write is called as access levels. So these specific access levels, public full access is available for campaign object only. This is not available for any other objects. You can read, we can see this here. So another permissions are like calendar. So let's say if we have a calendar, uh, then we will see these permissions. So what actually it is, I'll just take a sample R, and then I'll show you what actually it means. Let's say I have so in this objects is specific to calendar. In the calendar we have hide details. What actually it is, I'll just tell you. Yeah, anybody is aware of this hide details in calendar?
No.
Okay, let me open my org and I'll just explain this. Mm, okay, it is loading. Meanwhile, we'll just discuss these things, right? So hide details means, let's say in my home page, I'll be able to see a calendar component, right? On the calendar component, hide details means if I want to see other internal users calendar, I can able to see the I can see the other people internal users calendar as well. But uh, let's say uh, I want to have a meeting with another internal user. Rep 1 is there, and rep 1 want to interact with rep 2, let's say at a 9 a.m. Eastern time. Now if the calendar access level OWD is hide details, then what happens, uh, I'll be able to check other person is free at 9 a.m. or not, but I cannot see in case if there is any event already booked in that other user calendar. That is about hide details. Hide details and uh, hide details and events means uh, sorry, hide details and add events. So it is like the first permission remains the same, meaning you'll be able to see other rep is available at 9 a.m. or not, that you can able to recognize by viewing their calendar. But in case if you want to add any in event at 9 a.m., that you cannot be able to do it. Whereas show details means you'll be able to see other user calendar at the same at free at 9 a.m. And in case if there is any event is added at 9 a.m., you can also able to read that event details, what type of event it is. So those details you can be able to do see here. Show details and add events means it's a you can able to see whether the rep 2 is available or not at 9 a.m. Plus you can also add any events at 9 a.m. if you want. So that is about uh, these these four permissions in the calendar. So let's see how it is, right? Let me switch this calendar. Is there any questions in this? Are we good? So
Yeah, we're good, Manju.
okay, so I'll just quickly open a calendar. Where is this calendar? Yeah, this is the calendar, right? If I click on the home page, generally this calendar will be there on the home page. If you see here, calendar is currently I'm viewing as an admin user. In case if I want to see as a rep 2, I can here I'll get all the calendar user calendars. So if I go and search, I'll be able to select other user and I can see the calendar as a other users. This is very slow. Okay, so this even I can just by clicking change, I can add as another user and I can view their calendar. This is how we'll be seeing the calendar. In case if there is any event added, based on these settings, whether we'll be able to see the event details in the specific time or not, or we can able to add event in that specific time or not, is decided based on this OWD access levels of the calendar. Okay, I think you're good, right? So this is how you'll be like by selecting specific time, you can add events also here. So that is about calendar permissions, access OWD. And in case if you are, in case if your client is using Pricebook, then for Pricebook, we have again three different access levels. OWDs. One is use, view only, and no access. So is anybody using this Pricebook in your org? Srinivas, do you have an idea about this?
Uh, yes. So we are using price book, but we have only one price book in our org.
Mm-hmm.
So here, like the price book, the price book, it as per my understanding, the price book, what we can do is like use. So use will give the access to use the to select the price book. So while the user is going to add a product, they can select the price. So price will be like different kind of price, that is sales price, list price, and some other. So 4 5 kind of price will be for the single product. So when the user is going to select a product, they can choose a price from that. It's a list price or select price.
Correct.
So if they have the use access, they can use that price book, all that and if they have the view only access, they can see the price, but they cannot add it while adding a product. If no access means they don't have the access for the price book. But I have this understanding, but we did not use it this one because we have only one price book in our org.
Yeah, but if your application is having price book, then it is mandatory to configure the OWD with these values, like it can be use or view only or no access. Okay, we will see this separately, like how this is basically based on uh, like product, opportunity, and price book. If we understand these three objects functionality, then we'll be good with this OWD access. And for activities we have again these two permissions, and for OWD for user also we have these permissions, private and public read only. In some marks, based on this particular OWD, we can able to read the user detail page or not is decided based on these access levels. So that is about these OWD access permissions, access levels.
Okay.
You understand about this, right? Like user access setting, user access levels, either it can be private or public read only. What actually it will decide is whether we have permission to read the other users detail page or not, is based on these two permissions. So generally we will be, as a system admins, what actually we will do is like we'll just go to users and then we'll click this user and then we'll be seeing the user complete detail page, right? So what is that? Yeah, so this particular user detail page is controlled based on this sharing settings. Actually, I was not knowing that for user also we have this OWD, but while going through this document, I got to know. If you see here, for user also we have this. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions on this, or are we good to move next topic? All good?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, good.
Okay. So
So, Manjunath, I have one thing to add here.
mm-hmm,
So, if an object is having two parent objects with mass data relationship, it's like a junction object,
mm-hmm,
then the permission will be, it's a controlled by parent, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
both are mass data.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are saying
Yeah,
that
we,
there are two objects, child one and child two, and there is a
no, sorry. 1 minute. So parent one and parent two.
parent one and
Parent two.
uh-huh,
Only one child.
mm-hmm,
So parent one child is having mass detail relationship to parent one,
mm-hmm,
and the mass detail relationship to parent two.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then the control by parent means the permission the which permission will be inherited, like parent one object access or parent two. For example, parent one is
Yeah.
public read only
Mm-hmm.
and parent two is private.
Parent one is
One
pub.
OWD is public read only
Mm.
and the parent two
Mm-hmm.
is private.
Mm-hmm.
So now the child one, the OWD will be controlled by parent. So will it be public read or private?
Yeah, interesting. Dhanam.
Good question, Srinivas. So basically, in master detail relationship, whatever the first relationship we have created, let's say
Yeah,
parent one
correct.
is the first one we have created, so that will be considered as a controller. Okay, so the parent two relationship it will not consider.
Yeah.
Let's say if you have created relationship between parent two and child first, so that will be your controlling parent. So that relationship you can see which one is primary and which one is secondary. You can go to workbench and go to object. There is a field called ordinal something, so that will give 1 or 0. So based on that you can decide which one is your primary parent.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's go to one object, right? So Dhanam was telling that uh, in the workbench we can identify which is the primary parent, right? For example, if you see here job application, okay, yeah, is having two master detail relationships. So this is a child, this has two parents. Position and candidate is the parents, and job application is the child object. Now I'll just go to my sandbox workbench. So first I need to identify which is my primary parent, right? How I will identify which is my primary parent? So I just need to log into workbench and go to standard objects. So this object is what? Job applications, right? Let's go to job applications. Yeah. So here, if you see attributes, right?
Go to fields,
Yeah.
Manju. So in fields you can see both the objects. Just click on that and just a second. The field name is relationship order.
Yeah. Relationship
Relation.
order is one here for candidate, and for position the relationship order is 0.
Zero.
So the position is the actually controlling.
So this is the relationship order, right? This is based on primary parent, can be identified using what? Workbench, right? Workbench based on this particular field. So if it is 1, which one we have to consider? 0, 1 or 0 or 1?
0, 0, 1 will be the primary.
Okay, should be 0. This will be the primary parent. So based on this, it will be controlled, correct?
Yeah, correct, Manju.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Naga,
you.
any thoughts?
Got it.
No, Manju. That's all. Even the ownership of the child records also, like the junction records also, uh, the owner also will be from the master object owner only. Like that also inherits actually.
Correct.
So if
So
you have two masters and one detail, so the owner of the detail records will be of the first master.
okay, correct. So yeah, so for example, if you see the parent object which is candidate, here we have owner field. But if you go to this child, which is job application, here we don't have any owner field. So that is again controlled by the parent only, right? And that is again controlled by the parent, primary parent only, right, Naga?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, are you clear, Srinivas?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. I was telling about this calendar, right? I was not able to change there because of slow. This is how I logged in as Manjunath, but if I want to view other calendar, I can just simply click change and then I'm able to see other user information, other user calendar basically.
Hmm.
And or next is, yeah, this we already discussed regarding transfer permission. This is available specifically for case and lead, and for rest of the objects, this is not available, right? Where we can, owner and the other user can transfer the records. So, and other important thing is, so there are times like if this is our sharing, now we understood that in sharing settings we have different access levels, which starts from private is the most restrictive, and public is the public read write or full access is the most advanced one. And depending on the objects, we'll find public read write is the most open access level available, or full access depends on the objects, right? Now we understood that. Let's say if the so now other important point here that we need to understand is, if you are increasing the default access, let's say from public read only to public write, your changes take effect immediately. So this is very important. So what actually it means is, let's say here I have a private here. Okay, so now on the case I have private, I am just going to change it as public read write transfer, the most uh, top the most top access level I am granting here. If I click save, if you observe now the screen, what happens, I changed on case, right? So immediately here it changed public read write transfer. So that is what they have highlighted here. If you change from private to the most advanced access level, then the effect will be immediate. Let's say, and then backend jobs will initiate here. So in other way, it is not true. So if for example, if I have public read only, let's say if I am changing it to private, then it will not happen immediately. See, you can also read it here. The recalculated is based on the default values, and the original values will be displayed until the operation completes. Okay, let me try this. Now I just changed from lead from public read only to private. Now if I just check here, if there is I think the number of records is less, that's why it showed immediately. But if the number of records are more, then it won't show.
It's
Sorry,
updated to
it didn't
private,
update.
right?
Sorry, yeah, correct, it didn't update it. Now it's still, it is public read only. Yeah, that's what about this point. Is there anything that you can add, or are we good with this statement? All good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going with the higher permission, then it's affecting immediately.
Correct.
Then if you are restricting the permission, then it's taking time to
Yeah,
update.
values like for everything, the backend jobs will be initiated just like this, right? But the values will not show on the screen immediately. Only after completion of this job, it will show if it is, if you are narrowing down, if you are reducing to the lowest permission. But if you are increasing, immediately the new values will be displayed here, and the backend recalculation jobs will be initiated. That is about this statement.
Okay.
So that is what they have written it here also. If you're decreasing the default access, uh, then it will only this will be affected. It will be displayed on the screen after recalculation is run. That is what they have mentioned it here. The last point. This is from official documents. They have highlighted. So this we already know, like if it is a master data relationship and if OWD is private, then the child access will be automatically reverted to control by parent. That we cannot change, right? So this is remaining, we don't need to know. Forecasting is crap.
Manju, can you go back to the previous screen? Can you explain this point two in detail?
Which one?
Point two, second point. The organization-wide default setting can't be changed from.
Example, if Apex could address the user and groups to custom object devices, it is share code. You can't change the object organization wide default settings for public. The organization wide default settings can't be changed for some objects. Yeah, even I'm not clear about this. They were talking about in case if you are setting the OWD some value, and if there is any Apex sharing involved, so that time we cannot change something like that. They were telling. I
Yeah,
didn't understand
I'll
clear.
tell you. I'll tell you what happened.
Uh-huh.
So let's say programmatically, if you like what I understand. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say if you programmatically create sharing the records, so it
Mm-hmm.
will you have to give the reason, right? On
Mm-hmm.
what reason, that row reason. You see that there is a field
Correct.
called row reason, right?
Correct.
If it is not manual, then
Uh-huh.
automatically it won't delete those records. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you delete the master record, the sharing, or if you change the sharing from let's say uh, private to public, you have to delete all the sharing records, right? That won't happen. Only system will delete the sharing records which has row reason as manual. So if you have programmatically creating it, you will give a different reason. So that's why you have to delete those records and then you have to make the changes.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So basically
Okay,
here,
so
mhm. Go ahead, Harsha.
just one question. So in sharing, right, we have public read only. So for that as well, we can, I mean, we'll have a sharing object in the in Salesforce,
No,
right?
no, no.
Let's say if I'm, yeah, read only also has the sharing
Correct.
object,
Correct.
right? So I mean, will, do they mean like if we move from read only to read write, we have to delete the records?
No, no.
I
What
mean the
happens if, for example, if the OWD is public read write, then this Apex sharing reason will not be available on the object.
Yeah, I mean, so the question is like this, Manju. So, I mean, the what they're mentioning is from private to public. If we make it, I mean, if we change from private to public, we have to first delete all the sharing records with custom reason, right? And
Mhm.
then we have to make that too. So, let's say if you are doing it from public read only to read write.
Mhm.
Again, let's say we have some custom sharing records in the sharing object. So, again, the same thing works here, or else?
Yeah, that's what Naga explained.
Yeah.
So what happens if you are not giving any reason in the backend is row cause. Your field name is row cause in the sharing object. we have a sharing object. In that we have a field called row cause. In the screen UI, field label name as reason, right? So if you are not giving any value to this row cause, what happens? Default value is manual. Default
Manual.
value is
Yeah.
manual. But if you are explicitly using the row cause value as any custom value, right? And if you are trying to change any OWD setting from public read only to public read write also, that time also it won't allow. Am I correct, Naga?
Yeah. So basically the object, the underscore share object itself will get created only when the OWD is either private or public read only. When you are in public read and write, the object
Mhm.
itself will not
Yeah,
exist.
it will
So
not
that's,
exist. Yeah.
yeah. So that's why like when you're removing the access, so it makes sense like you should delete all these records because otherwise it will be lying there only, right? Like who will go and delete those records?
Mhm.
Correct.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Thanks, Naga. That makes sense. Yeah, I think we can also decode another 2 points as well. The ability to view or edit document reports dashboards is based on user access to the folder in which it is stored. This we understood, right? Dashboards and reports basically will be there in the folder, and based on the folder access that will be available, right? And
Yeah, correct.
service contracts are always private. So I think,
I never worked on contracts.
okay, let's see here itself. Do we have that sharing setting available? Service contract. Even it's not there in this arc. Then,
Yeah, we have to explicitly enable the service contracts. So we are using in our org service contracts.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Srinivas, can you quickly check the OWD for service? You are saying that in your org it is already enabled, right? So can you
yeah,
just
it is
quickly
private.
check? Okay. You don't have any other value?
Oh, 1 minute, give me a minute. I will check and update.
Manju, meanwhile, Srinivas checking, what is the
Mm-hmm.
difference between this service contract and contracts? Any idea?
No. Srinivas, do you have any
We have
idea about?
contracts.
Yeah, I have the idea. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Service contract. Yeah, service contract is default private. We have the options for public read only and public read and write service contract.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Can you quickly share your screen so that others can also see?
sure.
And user provisioning requests are always private. What it means?
Yeah, we had to provide some access. I think host disabled the participant screen sharing.
Is it?
I think you already opened the org, right?
No, I just closed it. Okay, let me
Okay.
share my screen
Yeah,
one
we have that service contracts. We need to enable it from the setup to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this service contract is a in the real time. It's a kind of the written agreement between the client and the organization. So the written agreement they will upload in this service contract. So especially what I identified the difference is, so these service contracts, so they are using whenever they are going for provide a service for particular products.
Mm-hmm.
So the service contract and the related object is service contract. The contract line item is there.
Mm-hmm.
So what they are doing is, so they'll sell the products to
Mm-hmm.
provide the particular service to the product. They are taking some kind of written agreement. So that agreement they are going to store in the service contract object.
Okay. What is contract then? Do you have
A
a separate
contract.
object called as contract, right?
Yes, but in our org we are not using the contract. We are using only service contract.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So contract, then we don't know. Then we are not sure about exact the contract usage. User provisioning, yeah, I can see user provisioning is listed in the OWD settings as private. And this when we click edit button, this is not available. So by default, it is marking as private only. But for service contract, other than private, what other permissions is there, Srinivas?
Public read only and public again, right?
Okay, then this statement is incorrect here. Then what is next? Users can view forecast only. Okay, forecasting, that we don't know. Anybody work? Dhanam, you worked or forecasting? Okay.
Yeah, can you do a quick setting to enable the service contracts from the setup? Entitlement settings.
Okay. This is how it comes, right? Enable
Yeah.
entitlements. Okay. Let me go and refresh this sharing settings screen. Now,
Enable entitlement checkbox and save under limit.
yeah, I can see service contract now. Currently it is private, but if I click edit, do I see service contracts? Yes. So see, service contract has private, public read only, public read write. So it's not, but I think this is private for external. For external users, it is marked as private by default. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. This is about how we see different permissions on the profile page. This we already know, right? Like object permissions, tab permissions, custom permissions, and login related. This screen depicts the login related permissions. Yeah. So this permission sets we already know. There is nothing much to know about it, but the recommendations is like too many permission sets if we create it is difficult to manage. In current org we are facing this challenge. We have too many permission sets and too many profiles. We are trying to identify which we can combine as a we can uh, remove few permission sets by concatenating few. uh, yeah. So this is, I think, another question they have in the screen, like view all permission versus view all data. What is the difference? Anyone want to answer this?
View all data might be for all objects, and view all permissions for all the objects, and view all data for particular object.
No, that is vice versa.
View all, yeah, view all data is for all the objects, right? So if you enable the view all data permission, it will enable the view all access on all the objects.
Correct. So in the this will be there on the profile, and if you enable view all permissions, then automatically it will be enabled for all objects. For example, if I have this executive user, this screen, I hate this screen. User management, right?
Yeah, user management settings.
Let's quickly check this. See here, view all data. For example, currently this permission, few permissions are not enabled, right? Let me go and enable this view all data. Now this is enabled for all objects. Now if you see here, for all objects, this is enabled. And it is not just enabling this view all on the objects, it also adds some other benefits as well. We can read this information here. And same goes with modified data also.
Modify all.
No, I think it is modify all data. So
Modify.
these are the benefits that we will get using modify all data. Reports, dashboards, and then objects, and some other benefits we will get as well. Right? This is about this.
Manju, does this permission available for custom profiles as well? Or it's only for system admin?
Yeah, this is a custom profile. If you see here, executive user, this is a custom profile, but this is available based on the license type. If the license type is
Okay.
Salesforce, then it will be available. But for other license types, it will not be available, I believe. For example, if I go to, I have Salesforce platform license as well, I believe. Where is that? No, here all profiles are Salesforce only. Let me create Salesforce. Support user. What is the other standard profile which is under? Okay. What is the other standard profile which will change the license type as Salesforce platform? Any idea? Contract manager? No. No. Srinivas, can you check for Salesforce platform license? Right? Do we have this modifier data? What I know is like only for Salesforce user license, this modifier data will be there. Either it is a custom or standard profile.
Yeah.
Did you check, Srinivas?
Yeah, I'm checking. 1 minute.
Okay. Meanwhile, we'll see this. So this is like how it will affect if we have permission in profile, permission is not there in permission set, and what is the final outcome. This we already aware of this, so I'm just skipping this part.
And
Yes, Srinivas.
I have one question here. So is one of the requirement like if you enable the modify all permission, it also includes the delete access, correct?
Let's
To
enable this.
modify all, it also provides a delete access. It enables the delete access. So one of the requirement so it enables the full access.
Yeah.
Right. So the requirement is they want the modify all access, but they don't want to give that delete access. They want to give only edit access. So this one I faced, like when I try to disable the delete, it's also disabling modify all.
Yeah.
So is there any alternate way for this?
I don't think so. So when they say modify all, then obviously they'll be having permission to delete, but on the screen, like generally it is for users, right? On the screen, you can think about removing the delete button or delete any kind of links if there is on the page layout that you can remove. That is what I can think of. Is there any other recommendations? Harsha, Dhanam, Naga?
No, Manju,
Yeah,
whatever
that
you
is
said
one
is it is
sensible.
perfectly correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we should not over-engineer a solution, right?
correct.
So like that works.
Yeah,
Basically, you should not be able to delete. So just remove the buttons or access
correct.
so that he won't be able to do it.
Yeah, makes sense. Srinivas, agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So who is boss? I think this guy has made this screenshot. Profile versus OWD. We know that it's always based on profile only. Profile will be obviously right. It's not just OWD. And
Yeah.
basically it just mix, it works with the combinations. It's not, it won't work alone, right? But in case if we have in profile level, if we have the topmost priority, which is view all modify all, then nothing will stop the profile. Profile is obviously the boss.
Yeah.
And
So this is Srinivas, and I want to give that update on the Salesforce platform
mhm,
profile. So we
mhm,
don't have the view all data and modify all data permissions on the Salesforce platform profile.
correct. So Dhanam, you got your answer right. If the license type
Yeah,
is
Manju.
Salesforce, and profile can be either standard or custom. This view all data, modify all data will be there. But if user license is other than Salesforce, then view all, modify all data will not be there. So that is why generally for system admins, the license will be Salesforce.
So why? Because I think Salesforce platform will not give access to all the CRM objects, right? Is
Correct.
that the reason? And
I'm,
Salesforce will give access to everything.
might be. We're not sure about design decision, but this answer might make sense. Like as you said, Salesforce license. The benefit of this is like we will get all standard objects, CRM standard objects, right? But Salesforce platform
Yeah,
has limited standard objects like account contact
right.
and all the custom objects.
Custom objects. Yeah.
Yeah, this might be the design decision. Correct. So this is on a top level for a user. These are the different metadata components that are available. User can have a role, profile, territory, and feature license. So what actually feature license is, for example, let's say there is a knowledge articles, right? So knowledge articles will be under feature license. That is one example for feature license. That's what they have added it here. For a user, feature license will also be there, meaning on a user detail page, we'll be enabling either he's a knowledge article user or not. So that will be under feature licenses. If you see here, feature licenses, you can see under company information. That is one example, knowledge article. And the other example is, let's say if user is identity connect user, then also that will be under feature license. It will comes under feature licenses. So in our org we have almost some close to some 1400 users. All users are we have identity connect. So we'll be taking data from Microsoft Active Directory to Salesforce using identity connect. So in the real time, the sync will happen between Microsoft Active Directory and Salesforce using Identity Connect. So for each user, we have Identity Connect license. So that will be also shown under feature license. So that is why they have given in this diagram. And
So
audit.
Manju, one question.
Mhm.
So first we have to buy the Salesforce license, and in addition to that, we need to buy the feature license. Is that it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Or else buying only the feature license will be suffice for I mean,
No, no,
let's
no, no.
say there is I mean, on the user detail we have service cloud and sales user and service user, right?
Mhm.
So for those, will it be as a single license purchase, like I mean, we purchase a Salesforce license and it will come up with sales feature, I mean feature license, or else how does it work?
Yeah, correct. So the basic license we have to purchase, it can be either Salesforce or Salesforce platform. On top of it, this Identity Connect user or Sales Cloud user, Service Cloud user will be added.
Okay.
So Salesforce or Salesforce, if you see here user licenses, so this is what actually we are going to purchase. On top of it, based on the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Identity Connect knowledge user, these are all additions. It's, you can, in other
Okay.
words, you can say as add-ons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got.
Naga, do you want to add anything to that?
No, Manju. Yeah, you covered it all. So basically, see, Salesforce license will give you the basic needs. Okay. So you might need to create lead, you might need to create accounts. So that those access you will get it. But let's say if you want to integrate two systems using Identity Connect, or you want a new feature called Live Agent or Knowledge Articles, so that you have to buy because they can't put everything in one license. So they have segregated it as in different categories.
Yeah, so that is why it is called as add-ons. So the reason why I'm saying confidently is because recently I have seen the payment receipt of the user license, so I understand how it works. So yeah, teams and groups, we already know this. On if you go to user object, so directly for user object, we have teams also enabled in the user object. Let's say this is my user detail page. If I see teams, here I have teams. So these are the different components that are involved for a user, and user can be part of a group or user can be part of a queue as well, right? And user will have permission sets. License assigned. So see, this is another screenshot that they were, Sirsha, you're asking this, right? So they call it as two with the different words: core license and feature license. Core license you
Okay.
have to take, and then feature license is basically add-ons to your core license.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for community users, again we have to enable knowledge. I mean, we need to add knowledge to it, right?
Yeah, in case if we want, we can do it. For community user, again there are different user license type, right? Customer community plus. So likewise we have, so that will be there here, like it will be showing under this only, user license only, but currently I don't have any, it is not showing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And this is how, like when we are configuring role, so even in the decode SF also they have raised this question. Let's say while creating role, right, we'll see this screen, they have contacts, opportunity, case. So they, like, the question here is like, why only these three objects, why not any other object, why not campaign? The campaign is also a standard object, right? Why it is not showing here? That is what they have raised. I am not sure about the answer. Anybody knows this? So on the role creation page, we'll have this contact access, opportunity access, case access, right? So in addition, why only these three objects? So here these three radio buttons are all about if contact is associated with the account, what kind of additional permission you need. If contact is associated with the account, you want to edit it, or you just need to view all the contacts irrespective of OWD, irrespective of the role hierarchy. So that is what we are granting here, additional level of access to specific to these three different objects: contacts, opportunity, and cases. So this is just an example of role hierarchy. um, yeah. So this like let's say in case in your organization, if you want to implement a role hierarchy, right? So how we have to start? So that is what they have given it here: replicating designations versus reporting hierarchy of a company. So generally what happens is, recently we are working on this role hierarchy, right? uh, we have a system called, we have a HR portal where we have all the employee related reporting information, and we want to bring that to Salesforce and create a role hierarchy, right? So now the design decision will come into picture, whether you want to replicate the entire reporting hierarchy which is available in the HR portal, or do you want to do any modifications based on the visibility. So that type of decisions that we need to take while building the role hierarchy. So that is about this. So roles basically where we can use is what this, we can use in multiple places, right? It is used for in reports also. We can use roles and role subordinate records if you want to showcase in the report, that we can add as a filter condition in the report, and dashboards and many other things. And in case if we have a reports folder, dashboards folder, if you want to share with a specific set of people, and in the sharing rule also we can share with the roles and subordinates. So these things are there. So I have read it. This I have taken it from some blog. This is how they have given it as simplification between profile and role. So in simple words, what they were saying is like, what role basically is for what you have to see, what data you have to see is what is all about role. Whereas profile, it's all about what you can do with that data. So that is what the simplification they have given. So any other thoughts to this? Do you have any other words in your mind for profile and role? Okay.
No, Manju.
Okay, so this is one blog I have seen. In case if you are building role hierarchy, some of the uh, design techniques, admin hero, in this blog I have seen, like they have given how we have to build role hierarchy, what strategies you can follow, uh, and what considerations that you have to take before building this role hierarchy. I think this guy has created this in 2014, but it is worth reading. I just added it here. I'll share this document also. And do we want to take break, or shall we continue for another half an hour?
I'm okay, Manju, to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Naga.
Yeah, I'm okay too.
Okay. Good. Srinivas and Harsha.
Yeah, we'll continue. No issues.
We'll continue, man. We will continue, Manju.
Okay. So sharing rules. This sharing rules, how we can share, and like we'll be sharing with the specific groups and either roles and subordinates, right? And what type of permissions we have. It, we can just either give a read access or edit access, but we cannot give any delete kind of permission in the sharing rules, right? uh, so in the, I'm just thinking, like we have seen a full access in the campaign object, right? Let's say if you write any sharing rule, uh, oh, it's not there. Okay. Campaign is not there in my org. Srinivas, can you just check in our org, like let's say if you are creating a sharing rule, in addition to read write, do we see any delete permission? No, right? For
I mean, no,
only
Manju. We only have read only and read write. That's it.
for campaign.
For
Because
campaign,
yeah, because as per this OWD permissions, right? For campaign we have full access, public full access, where we full access is all. It comes with a delete permission as well. Read, write, transfer, and delete. So what I'm assuming is if you are writing sharing rule on a campaign, do we see here as delete permission also, or it is not there? Srinivas, can you check?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, we have read only, read and write, and full access.
Full access is also there, right?
Yes, it is there.
Okay. So while writing sharing rule, we can also give delete permission only for this campaign object, right? So that is clear with sharing rule. And basically this sharing rules, why? Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Srinivas?
Yeah, and one more thing, like for the lead and case, there will be transfer also in the sharing rules.
Yeah. This is lead.
Is-
Lead write only is available. Transfer is not there.
Okay.
Case, case I haven't checked. Case. Yeah, we don't see transfer for case. Yeah. Related to sharing rule, generally this is uh, to share horizontally. I think we can also share vertically also, right? Can't we?
for vertical, we normally use role hierarchy, no, Manju. We can definitely use it to share it to above people, but that is to a specific user or as a specific group. I mean, you have to add them or do something like that.
Okay.
And you can go by roles as well. I think we'll have an option for roles and subordinates, I think, over there. I mean, just click on that drop down once. I mean, can you go back to the screen?
Yeah, here we
Yeah.
have roles and
So
subordinates
yeah,
is there.
you can choose that specific role, and then all the people will have.
Yeah. And this is how it looks like. And the other important thing is like we have two types of sharing rules, right? We have criteria based and owner based. So per object, we can create a maximum of 50 criteria based and 300 owner based sharing rules.
Manju, we have three types actually. The third one is on guest user access. I mean, you have to create. I mean, if you want to share some records with a guest user for a site or a community, you need to use a sharing. I mean, that is when you have this community enabled or those enabled.
Yeah. With the external users, right?
Yeah, basically external users.
Okay. Yeah. So this is another suggestion, like we have to make use of this 50 criteria based sharing rules, and owner based is like I think overall it is 300. So
It
owner
is
based, if you
including
already,
50.
sorry, yeah, owner based is, I think we can go up to 200 250. 50 if you use criteria based, then 250 each owner based, overall 300 per object. I think we can also increase this by raising a case with support, right? Shreyas, do you have any idea?
Not completely sure on that, Madhu. But I think we have an option to increase. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is how, and I also saw there is a one more option available. Like this is the one, manage groups. Recently, they have launched this manager groups and subordinates. So this particular.
So manager groups is something like you. Basically, role hierarchy, right? How it works is it completely depends on the roles that we assign to users, right? Now, some of the people will have an option. Want to only share the record based on the manager of a particular user. So this was like manager sharing or something. We have a option in the sharing settings. So once you enable that, you will get these manager groups and all these things.
Correct. So in the sharing settings, if you just click edit here, you'll see this option, uh, man manual user manager groups. So this is the permission, this is the setting for that. If you enable this, then we'll be able to see this option. In the sharing rules, we will see the manager groups and subordinates, right? So let's say if I go here now, I can see this. Where is this? Yeah, manager groups and subordinates. So this is just to control the data visibility from the hierarchy. So for this blog has clearly written as, so for example, let's say this is my role hierarchy: sales rep, ASM, RSM, VP, regional sales manager, area sales manager, and sales manager. Sales rep, let's say sales rep 1 or sales rep 2, if they are creating any records, or sales rep 3 is creating records, by default what happens for all these, if the grant access using hierarchies is enabled, what happens, sales rep 3 created records will be visible to rep manager 1 and manager 2 also. But if we don't want that structure, let's say sales rep 3 created records, I don't want to share with the area sales manager 1, then this manager groups will come into picture. So manager groups means only this specific manager, whoever is the manager for sales rep 1, sales rep 1 created records will be available to this particular manager. But manager 2, even though they are in the same role, it will not be available. Right? And this is again, this is about manager subgroups. But if it is manager groups, then it will, sales rep 1 or sales rep 2 created records will be available to the top hierarchy, only to their uh, direct managers. How we can identify direct managers? From the user object, there is a manager field, right? Based on that, if you want to share the records, then this is the option for us. So if you want to make this work, manager groups and managers subgroups concept, if you want to make this work, first thing that what we have to do is, in sharing settings, we have to disable this grant access using hierarchies. If this checkbox is enabled, then manager groups and manager subgroups concept will not work. So managers, we are clear on this, right? Manager subgroups means only the direct manager will see, and whereas in manager groups, all the rep 1 created records will be available to the direct reportees, direct managers. Is it clear or?
So this will be applicable only for custom objects then, because
Correct.
for standard objects, granted won't be available.
Grant access using hierarchies we can disable for standard objects. So this is only for custom objects. Correct. Yeah. Is it clear or any other things that you want to add? Okay. I'll take that as a no. And what is next? So these are the some recommendations or guidelines. So if you are writing a sharing rule, first we have to check OWD settings and then role hierarchy, right? And per object, this we already discussed. Per object sharing rules available is 300, 50 is criteria based, and remaining 250 is owner based sharing rules. I think if you want it, to increase, we can raise a ticket with Salesforce for increasing. And sharing rule, this we already know that, right? If it is private or public read only, then only we'll be able to write sharing rule. Otherwise, this if it is public read, right? If it is the highest permission, then this new button, this particular section will itself is not available. Will be removed from the UI, right? And yeah, that's about this. And sharing rules apply both active and inactive. Okay, this is another important point. Sharing rule applies to both active and inactive users. All right. So I'm not sure like what is the benefit of applying it to inactive users. Might be they don't in the backend they don't have any other. In the
I
backend
mean,
it will pick bad jobs, right? When we
inactive
change.
users, right?
Mhm,
I mean, Manju, they might be thinking like, if I mean, let's say if a user owns accounts and opportunities, right? Opportunities, if they are closed one, they normally, if you are deactivate a user, like, uh, I mean, usually companies not move the closed opportunities to a new person unless they are open.
hmm,
Right? So, not to see the previous records and all. So maybe that's why they are.
mhm, okay.
That could be one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other Dhanam Naga? Do you have any other
So,
reasons for why we are
yeah.
sharing with inactive users?
So yeah, what I feel is, usually what happens, see, this role hierarchy is nothing but public groups. Okay, by
Mhm,
default, internally system creates a lot of public groups to make it work. This role hierarchy make it work. Okay, so in that way, because they have this inbuilt sharing rules which shares the records like role hierarchy, so that might be, even though the user is inactive, he will be present in those groups. So I think that might be one of the reasons why the sugar sharing rule might apply to both active users and inactive users.
yeah, that is a very good point also. If we have a group and then if the user is available there, it is not removed. If user is inactive, it will not be removed from the group automatically, right? That's why it is going to share with that. Mhm,
Yeah, and by default also system, like when to make this role hierarchy work,
mhm,
internally Salesforce creates a lot of system defined public groups. So
mhm,
and it has a lot of inbuilt sharing rules which shares the records automatically. So
mhm.
might be because this, like whatever user creates sharing role is nothing different, right? It is also the same sharing role. So probably that might be the reason like why uh, they might these sharing rules will apply to inactive users as well.
Yeah. Tanam, you have any other points to add?
No, Manju. So Naga and Srinivas covered it.
It's Harsha.
Sorry, Harsha.
When you delete a sharing rule, the sharing access created by the rule is automatically removed. When you delete a sharing rule, the sharing access created by that rule is automatically removed. Yeah. Do we have anything to add to this? When we delete a sharing rule, records which are accessed because of this given access, I think that will be removed.
So basically, records from the sharing object, like when we create a sharing rule, right? It automatically creates a sharing record. I mean, if you are giving read access for that particular record, it will create a sharing record as well. So when
Mhm.
you delete the sharing rule, that records will be deleted.
Okay. So I'm not sure about this last point. If criteria based sharing rule references a field from a licensed managed package whose license has expired and the new records are not shared based on those rules. I'm not sure about it. Anybody has thoughts?
So let's take a managed package, Manju. Let's say we have Nginx and Aptus. We have so many packages, right? So let's say Nginx. That's a loan application. Nginx mostly works on the banking sector, right? So let's say we have a loan application object. Okay, so in that object, you want to share that records. One of the default field is based on application type. I think. There is one field which is application type. So if you want to share all the records based on the application type, this application type is from the managed package. Okay. Now, if you wrote a criteria sharing rule, and you want to share all the a specific application type to all the users. Okay. Now, Nginx, how it works is it sells the license to the particular org. If I'm installing the, I have to pay some license cost to it. And once I get a license assigned to me, similar to the feature license which we have, that's when I will be able to access the loan application in Nginx package. Okay. Now, if we are building the sharing rule based on a field from the license, from the managed package which has a license, and if now currently if it is expired, then this sharing rule will become disabled. Like it doesn't work anymore in that particular org. It will not create any. Even if you create a new record in it, it will not. Salesforce will not execute the sharing rule after the record creation.
Okay. So what I understand is when we install a managed package, and if that managed package has any sharing rules, let's say if it is expired, managed package license is expired, and if you have not renewed the license, then what happens? Whatever the sharing rules associated with that particular managed package will not execute anymore in our org.
It's not like the sharing rules from the package. Even if you create a sharing rule which uses a field from the managed package, let's say from the managed package you have an application type. Okay. You create a new sharing rule and you are referencing that application type. The managed field from the package. That will not work. That will also get disabled, Manju, if you are not renewing the licenses. Yeah.
Okay. So we can also write sharing rule based on the managed package field values, is it? So we'll also see here we are seeing all the custom objects, right? Custom and standard objects under sharing rule section. In addition to this, we'll also see managed package objects also, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
If they are not private read write, then definitely you can get it. Yeah. So let's say Aptus CLM package, right? So they'll give you the package and you can further customize it. Like not everybody should be able to see all the contract records, or else pricing list records, or else not everybody has to see it. So you can tweak the OWD of those objects, and then you can, if you want, you can create a. If you're going with a declarative way of sharing records, you can go with sharing tools, or else if you are doing going with Apex sharing, then you can go that as well.
Okay. I'm not aware of that. I was under impression that we cannot write any sharing rules for managed package. Okay, now I'm clear. Any other thoughts, Srinivas? Dhanam? Naga?
No, Manju.
Okay.
And I have one thing, like, so can we share the records to public groups as well by using sharing rules?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can share, right? So this is how we'll see public groups here. This is the first one option is public groups. Share with.
Okay. And if we enable the territories, then we can share to territories and subordinates as well, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes. Okay. Next one. So this is about some login IP restrictions on the profile level. Uh, so this is one question that they were pointing here, right? Let's say I have a configured login hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and user logged in at 4:30 p.m. and continues working till 5 p.m. What will happen 5 p.m. if the user in the middle of editing some record? What happens to this? My login hours are from 8 to 5, but the user is active in the Salesforce, meaning he's performing some one other action, right? Assuming he's editing some record, he's not idle. So will the session continues or the screen will auto log out?
I guess if they do any DMLs, then they will log out, Manju.
Mhm. Any other thoughts? Srinivas, Naga, Harsha?
No, Manju, never tried this.
Yeah, Manju never
No,
tried it.
Yeah, even I never tried.
I think we
I think this is the answer they were telling. If users are logged in, when their login hours end, they can continue to view their current page, but they cannot take any further action.
Mhm.
I think when they click save button, that is where they'll get logout screen.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Otherwise, they won't log out. They can sit for 24 hours and they can work.
Yeah, correct.
Nice, nice.
And other thing about this IP ranges. So they have like we can set IP ranges in multiple places, right? One is on the profile page. On profile page, we can see IP ranges, right? And this question is bit interesting. Uh, on the profile page, we can see here IP ranges, right? This is one place. Another place is network access. This is another place. Here also we can set IP ranges. Now what they're asking is, so let's say if I want here on the profile level, if I want to what IP as per IPv4, I can set the maximum, right? 0 to 255 is the maximum, right? But I'm just deleting this record again. This is the maximum we can set and it is allowing us to save in the profile level. In the network access level, if I try to set the maximum value, it won't allow. So this is one point. In the network access, we cannot give the full IPv4 ranges. And other thing is, uh, so this is this question. I'm just this is the interesting question, right? So for example, let's say in the network range, in the network access, I have given as 0002 some value I have given. Let's say 243 I have given. Okay. Now if user is entering from 255, which is not in this network access, then what will happen? You got my question? On the profile level, I have not configured IP ranges. Directly I came to network access, and what I did is I configured here 02 instead of giving the full permission. Full permission anyway I'm not able to give, right? Let's assume I have given some 244 and whatever some other permission, not full permission. full IP range, then what happens if the user is from let's assume if user is from 247, what happens? Actually, it won't throw any error message. What it will do, it will just send a verification code to the user, whatever registered email or phone. So once if we enter that, he'll be able to log in. So that is in the network access. But in the profile level, if we add any, let's say instead of full range, if we add 244, then user will not be allowed to log in. His access will be denied. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, Manju.
Yeah, on the network level, if the user is from outside the IP ranges, he is allowed to log in via email verification code or mobile registered verification code. But the same is not true for IP ranges configured at the profile level. If profile level IP ranges is less, then if user try to log in, he'll be not allowed to log in. There will be no verification codes. And there is also so they are saying that for each page we can configure the IP ranges. This I'm not clear about this. I have never used this. So anybody has idea on this? So they are saying that in session settings we have a permission to enforce login IP pages for every request, IP ranges for every request. You can enforce IP address restrictions for each page request, including requests from client tabs, not only at the time of login. I'm not clear about it. Anybody has idea or used it?
No, I haven't used it, but what I understand is, let's say you logged in. You logged in through your home internet,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to Salesforce,
Mm-hmm.
and then not Salesforce, let's say company internet.
Mm-hmm.
After, like, through VPN. After that, what happened? You disabled VPN and you clicked on refresh now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so ideally, because you already the validation happened that you came from a valid IP address. If you don't click this, it will allow you to do any changes in Salesforce off. But if this is enforced, when you click on refresh or when you access any page, Salesforce page, it will just validate again whether the IP is in the range. If it is not, it will not allow you.
Okay, makes sense. Dhanam, did you use this one?
No, Manju.
Okay. Yeah. So on the whole, these are the different uh, permissions we have for login related restrictions, either IP ranges at network access level and in the profile level as IP ranges, login IP ranges, and to on each page to validate this request. And then we have in the under session settings, we have this permission. So this we already discussed, right? Network level, we can't set the full IPv4 range. It is always a subset. And this we already know, and we have seen this error. So this is another question. What is the difference between business hours and login hours? Harsha, I think you have worked on many business hours cases, right? You and Darshan. Do you remember this?
Uh, so business hours are something like let's say if you are using financial service cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
So or else I mean, let's say you have a call center. Okay, now your team works from morning 9 to evening 5. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now these are the business hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So I mean, you have a live agent on the I mean, on your community site. Okay, that should be only available between 9 to 5. Okay, so that you can use it using I mean, that you can configure using business hours. I mean, you have to build a custom logic, but I mean, how you show that is business hours. Okay, but login hours are something like where you'll restrict your users, like morning 9 to evening 9. This is where you can log into our system. Yeah, but actual working hours are like 9 to 5. I mean, this is our working hours. Let's say we have a consultancy outside, right? So basically they say their working I mean, their business hours are 8 to 6, but their office will still stay open, right? Even after 6. But the thing is, they do business in that specific hours itself. That's the main difference between business hours and login hours.
Naga, you have any thoughts on this?
No, Manju, I think only thing I understand is like as you mentioned, business hours might be like Monday to Friday, not on weekends. Login hours probably it is configurable. Like when you log in, probably your timings, work timings.
Okay.
Holidays.
So this is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These things are there in business hours. I think in login hours, we don't have this Monday, Tuesday concept, right? Days information will not be there in this one.
Login hours.
Login hours.
Yeah.
So business hours are like the holidays which we follow and everything, right? Like I mean, Monday to Friday, and we have a holiday falling on Fridays. I mean, we can mark it over there. So all of these comes into business hours and all. I mean, business hours falls under company information, right? But login hours are something which falls under the network I mean, on the profile or else on the security side of it.
Yeah. I think business hours will be applicable for all users in the org, whereas login hours, I think we can set it based on the profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Login hours based on profiles and business hours for all users. So these are the few things that we can say use cases for business hours. So this is some examples they have given: escalation rules, holidays. Outside the business hours, if somebody want to escalate it, which is a meaningless, right? So these things, holidays, in the holidays, if you escalate also, nobody will be responding on your case. So these things, using business hours, we can configure these milestones and entitlement process, all these things. These are the service cloud related concepts are dependent on these business hours. So external objects, I think external objects also they'll ask in this sharing and visibility exam, and I've seen one diagram here from the trailhead. So if there is a parent, we know that there is parent child object. If parent is some standard or custom object, and if child is external object, only relationship type that are allowed is indirect relationship. Okay, and if it is external lookup, like relationship field data type is external lookup only if parent is external object. If parent is other than external object, Then the relationship type will be indirect lookup relationship. So this is an easy way to remember this. So on the whole, we can create relationship between external object and standard objects plus custom objects and external objects. And what type of relationship is supported is basically dependent on the parent and child. If two objects are external objects, then only supported data type to make a relationship is external lookup field. If it is parent is external and child is standard or custom objects, still we can utilize external. We cannot utilize here indirect. Indirect is only possible if parent is standard or custom and external object, we can go with the indirect relationship field. So this is about external object relationships. So this, they are just taken some use case. So this is one example they are telling. I have an external object created with invoice. They have an external object created with invoice which has all the invoices stored in individual person accounts. Now they are trying to make a relationship between two objects. One is external object, another is external object name is invoice, another object is per account object. So now they are asking what type of relationship it will be matched, what relationship we can match. If it is between standard and external object, as per this diagram, available option is only this indirect. So again, it depends on what is parent and what is child, right? Custom list view sharing. So list views also we can share with this based on this, right? Just like our sharing rule, this list views also we can share. So that is about this. List views we can also share with community users also. Custom list views, if you want to have a custom list views, these are some profile level permissions. I don't think so we can remember this settings,
Yeah.
but we can always refer this, right? And for files also we have this sharing permissions. Private share your company. Files backend object is content document, right? That we know. So this is some crap question. And this is programmatic sharing. So in programmatic sharing, what happens? There is a standard share object will be created for both standard and custom objects. If it is standard object, then there will be no underscore between the name of the object and the share. If it is a custom object, then there is a underscore share will be appended. So these are the different fields. So if you handling Apex sharing is nothing but creating a simple record, right? So these are the different fields that we will be filling, and we need to understand which is mandatory, which is optional, right? So what they're saying, for example, if you see here, as per this particular screenshot, M is mandatory, O is optional. So row cause is what? Optional. If you are not passing any value to this, by default it will be, the value will be manual. If you want, we can pass our own values here. Like Naga was explaining this earlier, right? So on an objects, if the OWD is configured as OWD is configured other than other than public read write, we can see this option, right? Which is Apex sharing reason. Here we can create it, and then that we can pass into row cause. And user or group ID, we can pass the user IDs here. And parent ID is basically our object ID. Our main object. Let's say in this example, account plan is the object. For that, child share is a sharing object, right? So account plan parent ID will be passing it to parent ID. and we can give here either read or edit access level. So I don't think so we can pass here delete also, right? Access level, record access level, we can pass either edit or read. Can we pass delete? No, right?
No.
No.
It's just like sharing rules, right, Manju?
Yeah,
But you're
just
doing it automatically.
correct. So this is a simple way we can just creating Apex sharing is nothing but creating a record. That's it. Inserting a record into share object. So this is how they are just displaying it. Like in manual sharing, we have manual sharing concept also. Like on a record, we'll see share button, right? We will be clicking it and then selecting to whom we have to share, either user or a group, and then we'll be giving either read access or write access. The same way they are telling that Apex sharing is also same. Here we are doing through clicks, but here we are writing Apex code. Here we are writing Apex code. That is just for easy understanding purpose. They have taken this example. So they are saying that.
And Manju, just to add to your previous screen,
Mhm.
so if there is a master detail relationship, then we need to pass a child object access as well. Let's say if you're sharing account, then you need to give case sharing and opportunity sharing, like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Parent. So you mean to say we have to create two records, is it?
On the same level, you can pass your child access level.
Uh-huh. No, I didn't get that. Access level is just a either it has just two values, either read or write, right?
Yeah, correct. Let's say if you're sharing account, you
Mm-hmm.
need to share opportunity as well. So in
Mm-hmm.
that case, you need to give opportunity access level also, whether it is read or only read write.
Okay. Okay. So these are the different access levels that are available. Um, so row cause is just available for custom objects. It's not available for standard objects. What I mean is this like Apex sharing reason we have, right? This is only available for custom objects. This is not available for standard objects. For standard objects, whatever the default values are available, that we have to utilize. So sharing, sharing they have divided as three types: managed sharing, user sharing, Apex managed sharing. Managed sharing, under managed sharing, these three things will come: sharing rules, role hierarchy, manual sharing will come. Sorry, record ownership. And user managed is basically manual sharing. Apex sharing is the third category. And row cause values, what was that, Srinivas?
Yeah, managed sharing, like record ownership.
Mm-hmm.
User managed sharing means this user managed sharing means the user can change it, right?
User managed sharing is manual sharing. Like on the
Mhm.
screen, we'll see share button, right? From the UI, we'll be sharing a
Yeah,
record from the button click. That is what managed sharing. And
and
sorry,
also
user
user
managed sharing.
can yeah, and also user can change owner also, right?
Correct. User can change owner is is uh, is based on the uh, permissions that they have, right? Record ownership they can't change. If, for example, if OWD is private, they can't change owner, right? That is where this transfer permission came into picture. Am I right?
Yeah.
If some record is shared with me, and if I'm not a owner, right, what I can do, I cannot transfer this record to some other person. I can just able to read that record or just edit that record. That's it. I cannot transfer that record ownership to some other person.
Okay. Yeah, got.
Yeah. So these are the different for like we have taken three categories, right? Managed sharing, user managed sharing, and Apex sharing. Why we have taken that is because row cause values are dependent on those three categories. For managed sharing, these are the different values. For in managed sharing, what we said, sharing rules and basically sharing rules and what are other category, role hierarchy will come into picture. So in role hierarchy, if you will see these kind of values: implicit child, implicit parent, owner, and about sharing rule. If it is through sharing rule, then row cause will be rule in the backend. So this basically these values will help us to understand like how a specific record is shared to other person. And territories also will happen in the backend. So these are the different row cause values that are available. And if it is user sharing, which is manual sharing, then these are the different values that are available. Default value, this value will be manual and territory manual. And if it is through Apex, then this is defined by developer. For we can create a Apex sharing reason here, and then we can pass whatever the value that we want here, right? So these are the some of Apex managed sharing recalculations. So we have also option called as Apex sharing recalculations. So when a sharing rule performs, and in case if you want to do recalculation, that logic also we can write in this Apex class. So for that Apex class, it should be a batch class. So you can just click here new, and then you can select your batch class here from here. So in batch class, you can write your logic how we have to share the records, recalculation basically. So what else? So this exam I have taken it from some blog about different use cases why we need a Apex sharing, Apex managed sharing, right? So these are the some examples that we can see, and there's some code snippet how we will do programmatic sharing, and yeah, this is just a sample code snippet. So this is what will happen to Apex or manual share user records if you change the owner of the record. What is your answer to this?
So as Naga said, if any manual share, automatically it will deletes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's all we have. So we have some uh, this is about with sharing, without sharing. So these things are there.
Yeah,
This is basic, which we already aware of. Yeah, that's all. And there is user mode, system mode, and this Santanu has written all the different, what is that, different metadata components, whether it runs in system mode or user mode. One simple trick to remember this is whether it runs in a system mode or user mode. If, uh, if something happens automatically in the backend, then that is system mode. For example, trigger is runs in system mode. When it comes to class that we have control, we can just uh, change the whether to go with sharing or without sharing, right? Let's say if user is interacting and something is happening, then probably it will run in user mode. For example, I have a button. On click of button, if I'm invoking a flow, then it runs in a user mode. So these are the two simple tricks. For example, if there is an anonymous window, if I'm opening, what it means is I logged into my specific org, right? So that runs in a user mode. And these are the few things. And inherited sharing. So this is our last concept for today. Inherited sharing. Can somebody tell what is inherited sharing and how this will impact? I have this diagram for this. So let's say I have a with sharing class and I have another class which is tagged as inherited sharing. Now if I'm calling class 1 related members, this will run in with sharing mode. So the same here, if you see without sharing class, and if I'm calling it from inherited sharing, then it runs in without sharing. So these two are normal only, right? We don't see any difference. But if you see a Visualforce page, and if and that Visualforce page has a controller, then it runs in with sharing mode only. And another thing, if you are not writing anything, and if you are calling it from inherited sharing, then it runs in with sharing mode. I can say I think this is the power of this inherited sharing. This last point. Do you agree, or anything to add to this?
Yeah.
I see only power of this inherited sharing for this specific use case. If class is not written with any with sharing without sharing, but if it is called from an inherited sharing, then it will enforce to run in with sharing mode. But by default, this if standard controller has any extension, and this extension run in what mode? If you are not writing, if the class is not written with sharing or without sharing, it runs in what mode?
It runs in system mode. I mean, with sharing mode, Manju. Like in the user context, basically.
Yeah,
All the standard controllers run in user context.
yeah, correct. Yeah, I think that's all for today. I think we'll have one session, might be after some time next week, or we'll discuss about territories in our next meeting. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.